Hey folks, we're going to begin a new sermon series on Sunday morning dealing with how to talk to people, and specifically in our culture and our world today with all of the conflict that exists, that's really always existed, but it's so evident now and so prevalent now and so obvious now because of all the ways that we see it and hear about it. And how do we talk to people in the midst of that conflict? And especially, of course, when we think about relationships and conflicts that come because of things that we might disagree on, or hurt that happens, or things that happen, and why that conflict. And so we're going to talk about that on Sundays. The first message in this series, I'm going to be looking at James chapter 4, the first 5 verses, and answering that question, why all the conflict? And so I'm going to kind of challenge you as we go through this passage together, and I would encourage you to read it leading up to Sunday morning. Read James chapter 4 and specifically those first 5 verses. But I'm going to challenge you to understand the reasons for conflict, and then really, how do we trust God in the midst of that? As we think through conflict and how to talk to people in conflict, how can we trust God to help us? And so we're gonna talk about a few reasons for heartbreaking conflict, and then how do we trust God in response to those things, and how do we allow God and trust God to change us so that we're not dealing with the conflict that is so obvious and so prevalent around our world today. So read those verses, and I want to encourage you to join us for prayer at 9 o'clock for that prayer gathering time, and then for family groups at 9:30, and then for our worship celebration at 10:40. Let's address this issue of conflict, and let's do better in relating to one another.